So welcome to our Cultural Center. My name is Nevzat. I am a volunteer and member of the Divan Cultural Center since the day it has opened in 2005. We are happy to have you guys here. We are here to remember the sad and sorrowful event that has happened on September 11, 2001, and honor our tribute to those innocent people who has lost their lives on that day. But before that, for those of you who are here the first time, I would like to mention a couple of words about our Culture Center and who we are. And I apologize for the officers and firefighters that it's going to be a little bit of like a repeat for you guys, but there is more people who weren't in that room, so I was just going to mention quickly. So as I mentioned, our center was formed in 2005 and by a group of Turkish Americans gathered together to promote dialogue between the Turkish community and all the residents in the Triangle area. Our center is a non-profit organization. Mostly, we do our programs and we pay our dues by donations by our generous members. And our members are mostly Turkish and Muslim, Turkish Americans that happens to be Muslim also. But we have a lot of friends. We have many friends and ties in the community also. As the Divan Cultural Center, we believe the necessity of dialogue among people, just like the dialogue between family members, between neighbors and colleagues. We believe dialogue between cultures will help us overcome our differences. And hopefully by this way we can prevent the dreadful events like 9/11 ever happening again. Our main goal at our center is to create a peace island and make our surroundings a better place. Among our events are the dialogue dinners, for instance. Every year we gather together, we focus on different parts of the community, and we invite, let's say, scholars from universities or like church members, synagogue members, or we invite people from the law enforcement agencies, and then we get together and then we eat dinner and chat together. For instance, just last year our topic was peace through education, and we focused on the high schools around the area and teachers in the schools. As Divan, we visit local churches, synagogues, and other institutions regularly. We have a Divan Women's Club, and our female members organize many events, just like this one today also. And they also sometimes go to the assisted living houses or serve dinner at the women's shelters also. Every weekend, if you guys want to attend and if you guys enjoy the Turkish cuisine, we have a Turkish cuisine cooking classes. And we have also Turkish language classes if you are interested. And of course, we have many kids, as you can see, and for kids we have a weekend school, and we have many fun activities in addition to helping them with their homeworks and helping them with their Turkish language speaking. As our friends mentioned in the room, that a Turkish Muslim scholar, Mr. Fethullah Gülen, has inspired us for our purpose. He's actually a resident of the state of Pennsylvania at the moment, and in his speeches and books, he promotes the cooperation of civilizations through dialogue and mutual understanding. He was actually one of the first Muslim scholars to publicly condemn the 9/11 attacks. Sorry, I'm just a little lost here. Okay. Yeah. So, and one of the things actually I would like to mention before going on with our program is we have this, I guess it's monthly magazine, and I think last month, September and October 2011 edition is just dedicated to 9/11. And there is many very good actually writings here if you guys want to grab one on your way out. Actually, before going any further, we are back to the reason that our purpose of gathering here to remember 9/11 attacks, and to show our community how sorry we are for that it's happened. But first, we would like to start with a moment of silence for those who have lost their lives. It's up to you guys. Thank you very much. Although 10 years has passed, we still feel the pain of 9/11 attacks deep in our hearts. Mr. Fethullah Gülen, in his speech, as I mentioned before, after condemning the attacks of 9/11, he said a Muslim cannot be a terrorist, and a terrorist cannot be a Muslim. We also know that no religion does approve a violent act like this one. In our religious book, Quran, in one verse it says, "Those who slays a soul, who kills a person, unless it is for manslaughter or for mischief in the land, it is as though he slew all men." It is as though he killed all men. And whoever keeps it alive, whoever keeps a person alive, it is as though he kept alive all men. Also in our book, God says, talk and behave the people around you in the best way. So, without saying any further, actually, I would like to turn the microphone to our police officers and firefighters that are here. And actually, we would like to have Chief of Police Officer from Apex, J.K. Lewis, first to share some of his thoughts with us.
I'll try to be loud, okay? Let's see if I can do this.
Okay.
Well, thank you for having me and the rest of us to come today. Earlier we sat and talked as a group, and there were several things that were said that are pretty remarkable. And as I'm told frequently at my home, I've been married 36 years, the same great wife, and I need to listen to her many times more than I have. And a couple of the ladies that were there said things that were most notable. One said that you wouldn't know that I'm Turkish until you hear me speak. Well, that's not just your issue. When people hear me speak, they wonder, where did he come from? Because I sound different than many people from this part of the country. The other thing that was said was, the lady says, I came here 9 years ago. Almost all of us, the Raleigh officer is from here, but almost all of us, if you ask, not very many of us came from right here either. We came here from other places. I came here from Virginia 6.5 years ago. Many of us came here because there were opportunities in this community. We come here from all over, and we each bring different stories. I learned so much a few months ago about a new friend who, he and I both experienced what it was like the old way to harvest and grow tobacco. That's what my family and my heritage is in a tobacco farming area in Virginia. And it was about work, and it was about family, because everybody on the family had a job. Everybody worked. My wife did the same things I did, because there were not enough boys to do all the work, so she worked. And no matter where you come from, good people have the same goals, the same ideas. They want to work, to be successful, to be safe, to be happy, and most of all, they want these little people to grow up and be safe and happy and to do better than they did, to be successful. And we're all so much alike, but the word communication was used, and people use a lot, but don't figure out why it's important sometimes. But several of your group said, well, we want to connect, we want to Well, that's what our job is supposed to really be about as public safety people. We're there to help people, and we don't do a very good job of that if we don't know you and we don't try to find out about you and who you are and what you like. And so you have to help us. I've done this a really long time. This gentleman says, you've done this a while. Yeah, well, that shows, but also 36 years I've done this. And I used to tell people that it was really quite simple, that if you saw a police officer driving by in your neighborhood and you stopped and talked with him one day at your house, then every other time he ever rode by your house, not every house in the neighborhood, but anytime he rode by your house, he would always stop and look to see if his new friend was out or what was going on at his friend's house. It's very quite simple. It's about making friends and connecting to people. And when you do things like this, you make it a lot easier for us to be able to connect and feel like you want to connect. And we have to do better at that. One of my officers from Apex, Ben Byrne, is here today. And we try really hard. Thursday night, I was at the ambassador from Mexico's house to celebrate with he and his friends the 201st anniversary of the independence of Mexico. It's really nice. But it shows me every time that I have so much more to learn about friends and our neighbors and people who live here. So my offer to you is this: anytime that we can help, call us. Anytime that we don't do things exactly right, tell us, because we're not smart enough sometimes to figure it out on our own, and we have to have help. But anytime you would like someone from the police community or from what we do to come and talk and explain sometimes why it is that we do certain things that we do, we're willing to do that. And if you feed us, we'll almost always come. It's really quite simple. We all want the same things. We all cried the same tears 10 years ago when something that was horribly wrong happened, and we all felt the same thing, because that's what good people do. So from me and the police department at Apex, and for those of you who live near and are in our community, please let us be your friends and be your partners in having a good life, but also a better life for those little people that are so delightful here today. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a very nice talk. Actually, without going any further, I would like to invite Ms. Tiffany Cohen. She is from the State Bureau of Investigation, and she would like to share some of her thoughts with us. You can just maybe put this one, that would be nice.
I'll hold it. I don't know if I'll need it or not. I'm a pretty loud person. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us. Just a little bit about myself real quick. My name is Tiffany Cohn, and I am an agent with the State Bureau of Investigation. I work with Isaac, and I'm in charge of community outreach, and I work with Tom McGrath. He's an FBI agent. And I'm new to this. I've been there since July 1st, but I love it. For 9/11, I was in Australia, and I was not here, and I did not experience a lot of the same things that people here experience. But it hurt a lot, mostly because they were my people. They were my friends, they are my family, and it was awful. And I know it wasn't just awful for me, it was awful for everyone. The school that I went to in Australia was completely international. I had friends from Turkey, I had friends from Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, Spain, Sweden, everywhere, and everyone hurt just the same. It wasn't different for them than it was for me. And I know it's the same here now. I see so many different faces, so many different people, but the one thing that I think we need to get across is that we're all the same. Just like the chief said, we all want the same things. We all want to do what's best for each other, and we all want to do what's best for the community. And I think the Devon Center has done a wonderful job of inviting everyone here and sharing what they are about. I know I didn't know beforehand, and now I do. And like I had said before, I've never met a stranger. The moment you meet me, you are my friend, and you will always be my friend. So I would like to extend to you and everyone in this room, if you ever need anything from myself or the State Bureau of Investigation, or you ever just want somebody to talk to, I'm here. So thank you so much. This means the world to me, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much for that. Nice talk. And I would like to mention a couple of things also. I think just like, Chief J.K. Lewis said, or Ms. Tiffany Cohen said, I think it goes both ways actually. Like, as the One Culture Center, we are here to help you guys. If you guys have any questions about, Turkish culture or Turkish people, if one of our people is, cause some harm to somebody or something. I'm just kidding. So, we are here to help. If you guys, like you have something, that's like culturally, similar to Turkey, and you have some question, you just, call us and, what should we do in this situation, or, how to approach this and stuff. And that's one of our aim also. Just, trying to make our place, it's already peaceful, but a more peaceful place, thanks to you guys, of course. And I just want to mention one of my thoughts actually. As for the other people that are not from the law officers or firefighters, as you guys know, we have these people here. And I was actually last week, I was at home and watching the commemoration that took place at the Ground Zero on 9/11, and I actually knew this, but it was just giving some info on the channel that it said more than I think 300 firefighters. And also many, I don't remember the exact number, but many police officers died on that day on the scene. And I talked to my wife about this also, but I said, these people actually most likely were not in the building when the first crash happened. So these people willingly went in there, like heroically, went into the Twin Towers to rescue those innocent people without knowing whether they will ever just get out like as safe or whether they will survive. And actually many of them didn't survive. So that actually affected me a lot. And we also believe, those heroes were not any different than, our neighbors or our police officers that we have here. And they are from Apex, they are from Cary or Triangle area. Or our firefighters that are here, they are from Morrisville or Durham or in this Triangle area. So we believe, God forbid something bad happens, even here we believe these people will be like heroically, will go there and then try to help people or rescue people. And we would like to thank you guys for that, and we would like to show our appreciation and actually thank you guys for this great service that you guys are doing for us. Just a small thing maybe, but that's why we have planned this event. Just in addition to commemoration of 9/11, we would like to donate any money that we got from this to one of the charities that helps the families of public safety officers who may be in need. So as I know I talked so much, but so I'd like to invite actually one of our firefighters, one of our other heroes, Yoko Sorensen, to just mention something to us.
My name's Yoko. I'm fire station number 2. This crew that you see here, I don't want it. Fire station number 2, that's our district down the street where the firehouse is. I'm half a mile away. And we're kind of responsible for this 5 round miles in this area. And these guys are crazy proud to be here. Some were here last year, and I was here last year, and I got a lot of feelings about this organization. It's a really neat organization that we've seen grow over the past couple of years. But with regards to what you guys are planning to do today, and your move forward to kind of deal with some of the Islamophobia, I got to say bravo, hats off. What a brave move to actually look at something so what could be really big and to kind of meet it head on. My father's from Denmark, and he moved here early 70s, late 60s, and very different kind of polarized area. Even if it's just a typical looking guy, he didn't fit in at all. 10 years later, he got citizenship as soon as he could, and still growing up in the South, he wasn't very accepted, very kind of shut out. His accent gave him away. He didn't look like he was from around the place. And that man loves this country more than most Americans I know. And that's one thing I definitely see to immigrants is when they come here, they have such a deep-seated love for this country that we, as natural-born Americans, look at you guys, we're almost jealous. And it's something that we've taken back over the last decade or so when our country was kind of put on notice. Another country stepped in and kind of gave us a good kick in the behind. And that day holds a special place in every fireman's heart. A 343 is a number that almost any fireman knows, and that's how many firemen died. And like you said, those guys weren't in that building when it got hit. They ran to that building to do everything they could. 343 of those guys died, and I'm sorry, like, I know a lot of cops and a lot of the Harbor Patrol went down, a lot of people got hurt that day, but those were my brothers. And what made them special to me is that all they do is spend their life trying to make other people's lives a little better, a little safer, a little easier to be. And I got to say, hats off to you guys for doing the same thing to your community, to my community, to our community. Thanks for making it easier. Thank you. It's a joy to see it. It's a joy to be part of it. And like the chief said, please, please be involved. Let us know how we can help. Let us know how we can fit into your plans. We got a lot of loudspeakers, and we would love to be part of it. You're the one community or the one culture that's kind of reached out to us in mass. Like, I'm so proud to be part of it. And we'd love to see it further. Cary is not a whole lot of natural Cary-born people. A small percentage of the people in this city are from this city. And so there's a lot of us from way out. And I would love to see them doing the same steps that you guys are doing because we're hungry to reach and meet other cultures. We love it. Like growing up with my dad and sharing what his culture is very different than this culture. And I love to share with other people's. And your guys is so different and foreign to what I know that I love to see it and embrace it. So please continue and tell us how to reciprocate with you. And secondly, where else can you go and get an amazing lunch and a brand new pair of booties? Guys, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that very nice speech. Just so you know, Yoko, before you go, I mean, nothing is free. We are just going to get some pictures in front of that fire truck out there, just like we did last time. So if anybody else wants to share their thoughts, you are welcome to come up and say, whatever you want to say. Otherwise, that's all from us. Thank you for coming. And we have a couple more? Yeah. Okay, sorry. You never mentioned that to me. Benjamin, you want to come? Oh, I'm sorry. You were going to come. So we have Special Agent.
Who can go last?
We have Special Agent Thomas McGrath here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I did jot a couple notes down. I know it's going to be very difficult to follow the other speakers here, but I'll do my best. And thank you to Vulcan and the Devon Center for inviting me. I'm really touched that you have this get together to commemorate these 10 years ago. I grew up in New Jersey, not far from New York City. I remember the Trade Center being built. My best friend, best man, was across the street at the time. The towers fell. He was actually in the street running for his life then. So it touched me very much. So putting this together, this day together, thank you very much to reach out to us. And I want to thank my colleagues in law enforcement and fire and rescue. You guys, when you call 911, the FBI is not going to show up at your door. It's these guys in uniform going to show up, and they're going to be the guys who save your life and help you out. So, and I know I joined the Devon Center thanking them for keeping my family safe, and I know keeping your family safe as well. After those attacks, the government put together a commission, 9/11 Commission. One of the key findings was the importance of sharing information, not having, holding information tight and sharing it, and that's one of the ways that we can hopefully prevent a similar event from happening in the future. And I started out, my first office after graduating from the academy was Washington, D.C. I was in the field office there, working a variety of different violent crime matters and cybercrime matters. And I found that up there it was very difficult to share information, and the culture is a little different up there. Agencies are different, and there are some laws that had at the time restricted some sharing. But I was fortunate to get a transfer here about 11 years ago. And I call North Carolina my home. I really feel very, very welcomed here. And when I got here, I started working with local departments, and I found that their abilities are really second to none. They're really fantastic as far as their ability to solve crimes and take care of the community. And then also just the welcoming, the people there, the way they welcomed me. Here I am, I'm a Northerner, I'm a Yankee. I'm a Fed, no less. So for local departments to reach out, it's a big thing, and it really didn't happen much up in Washington. I'll tell you that. And I think that was bred a lot from, as Chief said, and others, the community. The police officers and other emergency personnel, they're from this community. Their families are here. The community, it's a vibrant community, lives together, solves problems together. And the Turkish community represented here at the Devon Center is part of that vibrant community, really second to none in business, medicine, technology, education, and really most importantly, and which is obvious, family. I mean, all the little ones running around, I think it's fantastic that they're here. I have little ones and they grow way too fast, and I miss those days when they're running around, you're chasing them, trying to grab them, quiet them down, make them do what you want, and they'll never do what you want. But it's family, yeah, and that's really what this is all about and the community is about. So I promise you that in law enforcement we will work together with our partners in law enforcement, emergency services, to keep you protected. There's a fusion center we work at together. We know each other, we'll call each other, there's task force. There's a lot of ways we work together. And like I said, North Carolina did not have the problems other places did or do. But it's really fantastic. We promise we'll do that, and I promise I'll do that. And I think more important than that even is the engagement with the community. So the community engaged with law enforcement engaged with the community. And I applaud you for having this here today as part of that. And just remember that, you know, I work for you. You know, I'm here to serve you, and so are the other people here in the first responders and law enforcement communities. And I just want to thank you for inviting me, and I consider it an honor to call you guys my friends. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just invite you randomly. So, any more firefighters, people? I'll just add something that Yoko said. Any other people from the behind want to share their thoughts on 9/11 or, you know, other things? Benjamin? You just Benjamin is coming from
Apex.
From
yes.
Apex?
My chief is the one who spoke.
Yes.
My name is Benjamin Byrne. I'm a detective corporal with the Apex Police Department. I've worked there for just actually over 10 years now, since 2001. I was on duty when 9/11 happened. I know exactly where I was. I know the exact call that we had just gone on. Somebody left their front door open in Apex in the middle of the day, and no one was home. So we checked the house, and because it's Apex, no one did anything. The house was fine. They just left their door standing wide open, all their possessions inside, and they were perfectly fine. I was in training at the time. My training officer said to me, as I was driving very carefully with my hands both on the steering wheel, because it was about the third week of me driving a police car, and I just didn't want to have an accident with it. Don't worry, since then I've had many accidents. The chief will tell you. My training officer said to me, he heard something on the radio. He said, it sounds like a news bulletin. He turned it up. And it was the first plane hitting the tower. And he said, how could someone fly a plane? I mean, you see the building. I mean, how could you not? So he said, drive me to the police department. And we drove to the police department, where we saw, like many people did, the second plane at the time. And our reaction at the time, and Chief Lewis was not in charge of the police department at this point, but it's indicative of what happened in America. Our reaction at the time, after we watched some of the news coverage, was business as usual. We didn't change our patrols at all. We didn't change anything we did that day. I just got back in the car and was amazed that this happened. And I didn't know what to do, but we did nothing different. And that is, for me, where America was at that point. We didn't do anything different. It took months for anything to happen. I currently work at what's called a fusion center. I work with Agent Tiffany Cohn and Agent Tom McGrath. A fusion center which was created in 2006. There are 72 fusion centers across the United States, and what we do there is we take tips and leads from the community and from the law enforcement community, because this may be hard to believe, but as law enforcement officers, occasionally Raleigh will have a piece of information, or Cary will have a piece of information, and we won't tell them, because we're Apex and we don't want them to know. And we don't want them to know in the past because that makes me look good if I can get on the 6 o'clock news and say, I solved this crime. For the community would look at it and say, I have this badge and I'm a police officer. So to you, it doesn't matter that it says Apex on there, but I promise you it means a whole lot to me that it says Apex and not Raleigh on there, or heaven forbid Durham, which is where I grew up. So the idea of the Fusion Center was to take those walls down, to say, I need to not just I need to know the sergeant from Raleigh, I need to know his first name, I need to know his cell phone, I need to maybe even know when his kids are having a party or something like that, or a birthday party, and say, hey, happy birthday to your kids, because then he'll call me. See, because we've established that relationship. Much like the chief was pointing out, we're your police officers, we're your firefighters, we're your EMS workers. You are our community. And as our community changes, so will we. But we can't change if we don't make these relationships. If we don't have faces and names, because prior to this, you didn't know that there were fusion centers across the United States, that officers were working together from multiple agencies to try and make sure that your community is as safe as it can be. But I promise you, your community will not be safe at all if you are scared to call your police officers. As the chief said, that's a failing on our part, too, because we have to reach out to you, because I'm kind of a scary person. Maybe. I'm a scary person because I can take away freedoms and rights, and I could do that right now. And that's scary. That's scary for people who have grown up here. That's scary for citizens who were born here. So I can't imagine what it's like from a different country. I'm the third generation here from Ireland. So I've been to Ireland twice, and I saw their police officers on one occasion. So I'm not really sure how they police over there. I've never been to Turkey. I don't know what police are like over there. But I'm certain it must be vastly different from what police are like over here. So I would like to tell you thank you. Just join everyone else in saying thank you for having us here. It's exciting for me to be here. I don't know anything about the Turkish culture, and I'm just as happy as I can be to learn. So thank you for having us, and please, reach out to us, talk to us, and that in that we will grow. Thank you.
Do you want to invite somebody from Cary Police Department? Yep.
I don't think. I'll be really kind of short. My name is Rob Bowen. I'm a patrol sergeant with the Raleigh Police Department. If you don't know where Raleigh is, it's about stone's throw that way. Everywhere from the city limits here, Raleigh, all the way to downtown, while I'm working, I'm in charge of about 13 police officers that are answering 911 calls right now, pulling cars over for speeding, whatnot, and I have absolutely no idea what they're doing right now, and I'm scared. But like the other officers were saying, 9/11, 2001, I also was working. I was a patrol officer at the time. I wasn't supervising, I was actually taking 911 calls. And I had to go through what a lot of people did. All the fear, the anxiety on it. As a patrol officer, I had to respond to houses because people were afraid that there's anthrax in their mail. I had to stop Middle Eastern people because people from the community saw them walking down the street, and with their ignorance, could not tell the difference between what they saw on the news as a terrorist and the person they saw in their community. For the police department, that's an awful time. That's an awful time to be a police officer. And there's a lot we had to overcome during that time. That could have caused a lot more damage in this country than it did. One of the other duties of my district was to protect the mosque off of Western Boulevard. At that time, being a young patrol officer, I wasn't familiar with the Muslim culture. I didn't know what to expect. I saw what a lot of people did on TV, and I'm gonna be honest, I was apprehensive. The community over there was so welcoming. To all the police officers that came there to sit guard, bringing us food, talking to us. It was something I had obviously never lived through before because of the tragedy, but also with the two communities. Like I said, 9/11 could have been a lot worse. It could have separated the community in half. With what we experienced over there, it did the exact opposite. I did not know that community center at all. I didn't know anybody that went there. If they called 911, we responded, took care of the emergency, the problem, and left. Because of that incident, we know them now. We'll drive by, the kids will be playing, just like Chief said. We'll wave, we'll say hi. We know them now. I think that's happened with a lot of people. I think the media might scare people at times, and sometimes try to spin stuff to be scary. But I think that's a minority. I think it's a vocal minority, but it's a minority. It's Islamophobia, as you put. Hopefully that's dwindling down. I'm seeing a lot less of it starting from 2001 till today. But like everybody's saying, that's what that's going to take. It's going to take both sides of the coin. It's going to take the Turkish community, the Muslim community, I don't want to say community either, because you actually are part of the community. There are no separate communities. This is one community. And everybody has to realize that. And I don't want anybody thinking that they can't call the Raleigh Police Department because they're afraid of the person that will respond. I don't want them thinking anything of the sort. You are the community. There isn't a community and then the Turkish community. It's important to have culture. That's what the Center's for, and it's great. But for the police department, you are the community. We are here for you. Never be afraid to call us. Never think in the back of your mind, well, if I call them, they're going to think I'm wrong in this situation or I'm bad in this situation because of my heritage or anything like that. That is the farthest thing from the truth. It is in Raleigh and everywhere else in mutual jurisdictions, it is one community, and we're here for you. I'm sorry some of this is kind of disjointed. I just kind of had plans to say some things. Other people have mentioned things, and I'm just now speaking from the heart, as they say. But to reiterate what all the other law enforcement officers are saying is, We need to work together. You're part of the community. You're not on the outside looking in at the community. And we're here for you. We are here for you 100%. If there's anything you need from the Raleigh Police Department, I feel certain I can speak for the other jurisdictions here. If you need anything from any of our departments, please call without a second thought, without any fear, and we are here for you.
Thank you very much. I think the best talks are the ones that you give them talk from your heart. Thank you so much. And I was just remembering when you said, it's just all part of one community. It's not just us or them. I was reading one of President Obama's speech the other day. He was talking to some of the Muslim leaders, and he was saying, how also Muslim people contributed a lot to the American community. And he mentioned actually the exact same words. He said it's not just us and them. It's just us all together. So thank you for that, though. Well, with that, I guess we're just gonna
more food.
Yeah, just end our program. But we have food and we have people, so just talk to each other and meet and enjoy your time. You can stay as long as you want. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much for your time.